Hello everyone and welcome to hashtag 365 days of samples or Sample Sunday. So I've been thinking about this for a long time, but I'm really considering ending this project. Not because I don't like it anymore, but just because I don't feel like doing the videos is really bringing anything new forward, where I've been doing this for so many years now. It just doesn't seem to get the same kind of response as some of my other videos do, and then I could dedicate time to some other things and just use my samples on my own time and maybe do what I see other people doing, which is include samples in their empties videos, or doing maybe a couple of sample related projects over a year as opposed to doing something as consistent as I've been with this project. I just feel like this is sort of the least successful thing I do now. People just don't seem to be as interested in it like they were when I first started, which makes sense because it's an old project and the format really hasn't changed. So I think I may end it. I'm not 100% sure if I will end it yet, so I'm kind of in that weird limbo place right now, but I did want to give an update on this stuff, so I will mention the few things that I have finished, what I would buy, what I wouldn't buy, and then we will move on. So the first sample that I would not purchase the full size of is from Bobbi Brown. This is the Instant Full Cover Concealer. So the shade I had a sample of is the shade Beige, which is a few shades too dark for me, so I couldn't really use it and determine how it would actually perform just because it was an incorrect shade match. So I just played around with it a little bit just to play with sort of the texture and the consistency, and I just found it really heavy and really drying, which makes sense because it's an instant full cover concealer. So when I hear a name like that, I expect that it's going to be a fairly thick formula. I expect that it's probably going to be a little bit heavy, just not right for my skin type. My skin is combination right now, leaning a little bit more towards the dry side. So this concealer just sort of sat on my skin and I just felt like I couldn't really blend it out well, like completely ignoring the shade match. I'm just talking about the formula. I didn't like the way that it just sat on my skin, so something that I will pass on. The second product is from Laneige. This is the Multi-Berry Yogurt Repairing Mask. I finally finished this thing. I just wasn't impressed by it. It was a fine, hydrating, nourishing mask. I just wasn't wowed by it. When I finished it, it just wasn't very memorable to me, and I've definitely been a lot pickier with the products that I want to purchase these days. I don't just buy things that sort of impress me. It has to be things that make me go, wow, this is something that makes my skin look really good. This is something that I'm missing. This is something that, you know, fits a need that I have or performs better than something I already have. And this just, it didn't impress me very much. So if it didn't impress me, I don't need to have it. I don't need to spend my money on it. So it's one of those things, as I've mentioned in previous updates of this project, where there's things that I would use if I had it. If I had another sample of this mask, I would use it, but it's nothing that I would seek out. And the last product that I would not purchase the full size of is from Dermalogica. This is the Skin Perfect Primer SPF 30. I liked this primer. The reason why I would not purchase the full size of it is because it really reminds me of the Dr. Brandt Pores No More primer, which I prefer to this one. They are very similar. They look sort of the same. You can see a little bit on the outside of the sample. It's the same sort of tinted primer. It's very thick. It's the kind of primer that I don't really like to apply with my fingers. I like to use one of those little flat foundation brushes. I find that that really helps to apply it smoothly so that it's all over my skin and you kind of get that flawless finish. It definitely camouflages pores, so everything just looks really smooth and even. So they are very similar. I just prefer the Pores No More because it's not as oily as the Dermalogica one. So this one, I feel like it slips around a little bit, while the Pores No More one will dry down a little bit more on my face. So it's just a little bit easier to work with, and it just something that I prefer. That's really the biggest difference I noticed between the two of them, that this one just felt a little bit greasier on my skin, which would be good if my skin was really dry. I could see liking this one better then, but the way that my skin is, I'm not desert dry. So while this one is good, it's just not as good as the Pores No More. I have two things that I would purchase the full size of, and I discarded both of those samples. I don't know how I managed to do it for both of these ones. Sometimes it's just habit. You know, when you use something, you finish it, it's just garbage. And I've done that from time to time, and I hate doing it because I like to have the actual sample in front of me. But I had a foil that was the Fresh Black Tea Instant Perfecting Mask. I'm looking at it, the list of the products on my phone, so if you see me looking down, that is why. But this mask I loved. Okay, so I love the Fresh products in general. I think I've mentioned that a few times. I really love that brand. And I love all of the tea products. I am an absolute sucker for anything with a tea fragrance, and I really enjoyed this mask. It just felt really good on my skin. They say it's instant perfecting, and I can't say that my skin looked instantly perfect, but my skin definitely felt really good and refreshed, and I just enjoyed the whole experience with the mask on. I love that subtle black tea fragrance, so it's something that I would purchase the full size of if it wasn't $1 million, because the Fresh masks are crazy expensive. And the second thing that I finished was the Josie Maran Whipped Argan Oil Face Butter. So as I've said, my skin has been a little bit drier recently, so I really loved that stuff. It is exactly what it sounds like, a whipped face butter, and I just need a tiny little bit of this stuff, and my skin is super hydrated and nourished. So the Peter Thomas Roth moisturizer that I purchased the full size of after trying the sample, what's it, the Hungarian thermal water one, that moisturizer with the Josie Maran was just my perfect combo. I really want the full size of that face butter. I am going to declutter the Dior lipstick sampler. I used the Delicate Matte shade, the Peachy Nude. It was okay, just nothing that makes me really want to force myself to use something like this. I just despise lipstick samplers that are like this. There's so much product in here. I am realistically not going to be able to finish these, and I don't want to force myself. I've got so many lipsticks that unless I'm really wowed by a formula I'm trying out, there's no point, because I can already tell this is not something I'd buy the full size of, so I'm just going to get rid of it. So I have a couple of things remaining, just a little bit of the First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Sleeping Cream, a little bit left of the Dry Bar 100 Proof Treatment Oil, just a little bit. I have been using it. It's fairly nice. I just use a tiny bit because I don't want to weigh the little bit of hair I have down. The Beach Walk fragrance, I have a little bit left of this as well. We are going through a heat wave, and it's great because just like a week ago it was freezing. And so I've been enjoying this over the last week. I still have a little bit left of the Glam Glow Super Mud Clearing Treatment. And then I didn't end up using the Christoph Robin Cleansing Volumizing Paste. A couple people warned me about this, so I was a little hesitant to use it, and I just kept saying like, next time I'll use it, next time I'll try it, next time I'll try it, and I still haven't done it. So I still might give it a go. I've been a little wary of it just because a lot of people had some pretty not so nice things to say about their results with the product. So a little hesitant because you never know sometimes. Every now and then I use like a hair care product or a skincare product that really just messes stuff up, really F stuff up. So I've been very hesitant about that. So I will go ahead and pick just a couple of more samples just used for my own sake. I really, now that I've done this, I don't think I'm going to continue with this project unless there's an overwhelming demand that I continue it. I probably will call it quits just because I'm just not feeling inspired like with other things. There's other things I want to talk about. There's makeup ideas I have and stuff I want to discuss about brands and concepts, and I'm not inspired, and it's a little bit of a struggle, and I feel like if it's not enjoyable for me, it can't be enjoyable for you. But let's pick some products because that's always fun. All right, so I have from Makeup Forever, I think this is a primer. Yes, this is the Step 1 Skin Equalizer Smoothing Primer. Sample 2 is from Kate Somerville. This is Wrinkle Warrior Pink Plumping Mask. Sample 3 is from Dermalogica. This is the Phyto Replenish Oil. Sample 4 is the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. So there are 3 shades in here. We have vanilla, light beige, and sand. And the 5th and final sample is from Jo Malone. This is the English Pear and Freesia Body Creme. I love pear scents. I hate body cream. Oh my god, that smells so good. I love artificial pear scent. I know I've said that before. It's such a weird thing. Like, I hate real pears, but I love artificial pear scent. I like the smell of that. All right, so anyway, unless there's an overwhelming demand for this project to continue, I do think I will end it, at least for the time being. Maybe just take a little temporary video break from it and still use my samples. I have used a few things here and there outside of this project and stuff that I haven't mentioned, just because I needed something. If I'm like, oh, I need a cleanser, oh, I need this, let's go through my sample jar first. Or jar, not a jar at all, it's a box. I will just go to that first. I don't know, maybe I just need to take a couple of months off and then revisit it later. Maybe I'll miss it, maybe you guys will miss it, maybe you won't miss it. I don't know. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a really wonderful, wonderful week ahead of you, and I hope we get a chance to chat soon anyway. Thank you so much. Bye.